purpose of my art is to bring peace and harmony into a world where chaos has become the norm. Hey guys. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take that out. How are you guys today? Hey. Remember, I told you guys that we were going to work on some new, I was going to show you guys some more of my art that I took out of storage. So I'm going to show you guys some more of my art I took out of storage. And today we're going to be working on, remember that piece of that canvas. I'm going to bring this over because I'm sorry, I forgot to plug up my phone, so I won't be carding you guys about. So remember, we're going to be working on repairing this canvas. You see this big hole in here. So we're going to actually work on repairing this canvas. So see that? We're going to do a repair. We're going to do a canvas repair. So we're going to do that today. And we're going to get, at least we're going to get started on that today. So let me know, make sure I can hear you, like you guys can hear me and all of that kind of stuff, because I know I meant to be on my other phone part, but like I said, I forgot to charge it. So here we are on a computer. Yes. So first of all, I'm going to show you guys some more of my earlier works, because I pulled a bunch of earlier works out so that you guys can see some of the things that I used to do. This is one of the pieces that I'm going to be mending, because it was obviously in my storage area, but it wasn't in my storage area kept very well because it's got a big hole busted in it. But as you can see, this was the series I showed you guys yesterday, which was the intimacy series, that intimacy series. And so this is from that particular series. And so we're going to do some mending, and then we're going to pop it back into its frame. So this is one of the largest pieces from that particular series, but this isn't the series I wanted to show you today. Today, I wanted to show you a series that I did years ago where I was dealing with like monochromatics, warm tones, different things like that. I was choosing different things to, different color tones and things like that to use in the series that I was doing. So this was one of the series, and then I'm going to show you from another collection of paintings that I did. And these are ones that I pulled out of storage so that I can show you guys. And then we're going to work on mending that patch. So this is a series that I really enjoyed. And it was a series that I did based on children, because I don't know if you guys know, but I used to work in Chicago, part of the Chicago Park District. And so I did a lot of stuff with children. And I love working with children. They were a lot of fun. And so, of course, if you work with children, you will paint them. So I did a lot of painting of children that I worked with. So a couple of them, I'm going to bring them over here so that you can see them. This was one of them. And this piece was called It's Broken. So this was a piece I did some years ago. And these are all oil paintings. These are all oil paintings. And as you can see, I love, this was a little boy that my mom used to babysit years ago. And I was just playing around with some monochromatic tones. So this little fella got to be a part of It's Broken, and he was a part of the series. So these are paintings that you guys don't usually see coming out of my studio, because you guys are used to seeing these, which is a part of my Caregivers of the Earth series, my acrylic and metal leaf. But I was big into painting in oil. So this is actually one of my oil paintings, and it's called It's Broken. So these paintings I just literally took out of storage. So wanted you guys to see some of those. Just bring it up a little close. He is a darling little fellow, and just enjoyed painting him. Had a lot of fun doing these particular paintings. Let me bring these over. Oh, you remember that one? Yes, yes. That's must be my sister. She remembers that. That was my sister. These were some of the paintings that I did some years ago, but just kind of wanted to bring them back and let you guys kind of see some of my evolution, some of my journey. So this was one. I'm going to show you another one. This was a part of that particular series. I'll bring another one over. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put this over here. And then this young lady was a young lady that I worked with in the park district. And she was one of my favorite kids. And I just loved her to death. And so this one, I chose to go with warm tones because I really, really love warm tones. So I created her in these beautiful warm tones. And this was called Alone. And so you see there she is walking through, and she has her little teddy bear in her little book bag, and she's just kind of out there. And I did this because the kids that I worked with in the city, they were what would have been considered low income. They were inner city kids. And so a lot of times they were out there by themselves, coming to the park all alone. And so when I did this, I thought about her, and I created this painting from an actual photograph that I had taken of her. And then I created this beautiful painting. And then this actually was over here was the building. It's similar to the building that she actually lived in years and years ago. She couldn't have been more than like 4 or 5 years old, and just loved her. And she would always come with these beautiful beads in her hair, and she would come and hang out with me at the park. And so I just felt like painting her and adding her to the series. And once again, this is one of my oil paintings. So you rarely see these because I don't bring them out that often, but I wanted to kind of bring you guys and let you see some of the things that I used to do some years ago, because I am getting back into my oil painting sort of mode, looking at doing more oil painting like I used to. And then this is actually one of my favorite ones. Here is my sad little boy, and this is called Blue Monday. Once again, going back into the monochromatic tones, and this is called Blue Monday. And so this is one that I think this was the last one I did in that series. So I'm looking at doing some more because I really enjoyed these, and I'll just show you one more that I did, and that one was my son. I did a collection, a collage of one of my son, but this was a monochromatic one that I did that I absolutely love. So this was also, and this was called Blue Monday. Blue Monday. I don't. You guys probably couldn't figure that out, right? So that was my Blue Monday piece, and then I have one other piece, and this is the last one. But this is probably my most one that I worked on quite a bit, and this one right here is called "What Price Will You Pay?" And I actually have poems to all of these pieces. So this is called "What Price Will You Pay?" And this was just dealing with what price will you pay for your children, because that's kind of what my theme was. Because like I said, I was working in the inner city and got a chance to work with a number of children, and just felt at the time that a lot of these children were just, alone by themselves, scared. And so this was one of the pieces that I said, it was called "What Price Will You Pay?" And you see I have this really, this, where is it, $100 bill over his face and eyes. And so this was one of the pieces in that particular series. And I did this some years ago. So just wanted to show you guys some of the pieces that I've done over the years that you may not have seen of my work. So I just kind of wanted to show, I wanted to kind of go down, pull some of the pieces that are in my storage that are part of the collection. And I have an entire collection of pieces that I did when I was in Africa, and that those are a lot. So I'll more than likely show you a few pieces from that in the days to come as I'm showing you different things out of my storage area, out of my back. So this is a really fun series, and I love doing it. And I'm hoping to eventually get back to creating and doing some more pieces that are centered around youth and children and things like that. So I'm hoping to get back to doing some more of those kind of pieces. So we're going to go ahead and start work on this canvas because I need to repair it. So I'm going to grab my board. I'm going to come over here, grab a board. So I'm going to use this right here to put down on the floor because I don't want to put the canvas down just flat on the floor. So I'm going to put this on the floor over here. I have to move some things out of the way because I want to put the canvas over here, and I'll bring you over here in a second. I want to put the canvas over here so it's kind of out of the way of traffic and the path, because I don't want to leave things just, I don't want to have things just in the pathway. Because we walk this way, and so I'm just going to take this really large piece of canvas and kind of lay it down where the hole is. So I think I'm going to go this way because I want to kind of lay it down flat where the hole is, and I want it to be on top of this piece of cardboard. So I'm going to bring you guys over here so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to come over this way, and I think we can lean you guys down. There you go. So now you have a good view. There, let's do it that way. Is that good? Nope, that's not. Hold on. I'm not trying to get you guys all like, whoa, whoa, right? All the wobbling. I'm trying to secure it so you guys can actually see. Sorry. This is I'm trying to secure it so you guys can see. All right, there we go. So you can see the tear. I'm going to push that tear back a little bit. And so you can see the tear. So we're going to work on that. One of the things I'm going to do is I have lots of canvas. So instead of me going out and buying more canvas, which makes no sense, I'm just going to use some of the canvas that I have already. So I'm going to just grab a piece of canvas, and because I have tons of canvas because I do workshops and things like that. So I'm going to grab a tiny one. I thought I had one open, but I'm just going to grab this tiny piece of canvas. You can't see me, but I'm about to get on the floor with you. I'm about to get on the floor with you, and we're going to use gesso. So I have some gesso here. We're going to use gesso instead of glue, and I have this tiny piece of canvas, so I'm going to use this as the repair canvas for what I'm about to do. So I'm going to grab some scissors, and I'm going to grab a brush over here. I'm going to grab a brush, and we're just going to, I'm going to grab one of these brushes. All right, so I'm going to sit down here, and can you guys see? I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit so you guys can get a good view of what I'm about to do. There we go. So as you can see, this is a big slice of canvas. And so, I mean, for me, I was a little concerned about it. And I want to kind of I don't want to cut any of the threading out because you can see it's going to take some patching. So I'm going to have to do some patching here. And I'm going to look at ways to run some thread there. So I'm just going to take this right here. And like I said, I have a lot of this canvas, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut into this right in this way because I want this whole piece. Because you want to cut bigger than bigger than your tear. So, and this will give me plenty. This is definitely should be bigger, bigger than my tear. And I could have just literally taken this off, but I kind of wanted to do it this way. Don't ask me why, but I kind of did. I just kind of wanted to cut it off that way. So there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it and I can see that it's bigger than the actual tear, and that's what I wanted. And there's a tiny one there, so I'm going to try to see if, yeah, it will go up. And let's see over here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go this way with it because there's a little bit of tear up there. I tell you, this piece has really, all right, so that's how we're going to go. I'm just going to measure this. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn it this way. I think I'm going to go that way. This one's tricky because it's like, we got a little bit there and a little bit there. But I think this is the way we're going to go because I want to keep it that in that perspective. So we're going to take this piece of canvas and we're going to put this piece of canvas on here. But before we do that, because we want to make sure that we do it the exact size, when we start doing the gluing, we're going to go ahead and take a marker, which I should have had down here with me, and I didn't. So I'm going to take this little marker pen so I can mark off where I'm going to be putting all of there. So now I have it marked off. This is where I'm going to be putting all of the glue. Well, I'm not using glue. I'm using gesso instead of glue because you can use gesso because gesso will adhere just like glue will. So we're going to use gesso, and I just felt I'd rather use gesso as opposed to glue because I'm working with canvas, and normally when I'm working with canvas, I use gesso. So I'm going to use gesso to do this repair. And if I can get the gesso open, hold on, let's go this way, and let's go this way. There we go. Gesso open. And let's get rid of, you can see my gesso's been sitting for a while. There we go. All right, so we're going to take those out. And yes, my gesso's been sitting for a while. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our brush and we're just going to literally put gesso over this whole thing. So I'm going to do some mixing up. Mix up my gesso a little bit because it looked like it was, and so I'm just going to take some gesso and I'm just going to kind of, I'm not going to, I'm going to lay it on thick, but I'm not going to like overly lay it on, but I'm going to lay it on pretty thick. So laying it on pretty thick because we're going to do this whole, and let me put this over here because I'm getting gesso on the floor. And yeah, what I should have done, I should have taped this shut, because then I wouldn't get gesso in places I don't want it. So actually I'm going to grab a piece of tape because I don't want to get the gesso on the actual painting. I'm trying to see where my tape is because I don't want to get the gesso on the actual painting. I'm trying to see where my blue tape is. Blue tape, because I definitely don't want to use, do not want to use duct tape. No duct tape. So, let me run down here. All right, so we got some blue tape. Well, actually, we've got some green tape. So normally I'm just stacked pretty closely together. I wouldn't worry about it so much. But what I'm noticing is this piece leans up a bit. So I want to go in and just put some tape on it. So I'm just going to flip it over a little bit like this. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to, because you can see how that's coming up. And since I don't want that, I'm going to tape it down. So I'm going to come around, and I'm going to use this, tape it down a little bit, because I don't want this popping up a lot. So we're going to go ahead and use some tape. And yes, it's getting on my fingers because I should have done this in the beginning, but I didn't. And when I flip it back around, it'll tape better. So I'll be able to stick it to the actual tape. So I'm just putting the tape down right now. And then when I flip it back, I'm just going to press it in to the tape. So, and there we go. So when I flip it back over, I'm going to press it into the tape, and then that way it will be taped better. So there. So now I'm going to flip it back over, and this is what I should have done in the first place. So, so when you do this, make sure you do the taping first. So now I'm going to take the tape and flip this back, and there we go. So now it's all sitting on the tape, and that's what I want, because I really don't want gesso all on the other side of the painting. So can you see that? Can you see what I've done? I've used this, and you can see it's sitting down now, because at first, remember when I was doing it, it was just popping up, and I definitely don't want that. So now it's sitting down. I'm just going to rub it a little bit, and then I'm just going to continue to gesso. And then the other thing is I have more of the threads down. The other thing, because the other reason I wanted to keep this is because I'm also going to cut another piece out, because there is some areas that, as you can see, you can see that they're just not, there's just big wide areas in here that I definitely will want to add more fabric to, but I'm not going to add it to it as yet, because I'm going to go ahead and gesso this, and then once I'm all done gessoing this, I'm going to add another piece to it. So once again, thick gesso around. So as you can see, I'm starting again because that gesso kind of went ahead on and soaked in, which is okay because we want it to. So I'm going to go ahead, thicken that gesso in there, as opposed to, and there's nothing wrong with using glue. You can use glue. You can use a gel medium. There's several different things you can use to repair your canvas. You can use gel medium. You can use all sorts of things. I'm just using, for me, I want to use the gesso. And then I'm going to take this piece. I'm just going to cut this tail off of it, and then just kind of look at it and see. Yeah, it'll go all the way across. So I'm just going to take this piece, and I'm going to do the same exact thing to this piece, only I'm going to lay this piece on top first, and then I'm going to add some gesso to it, a little thick. And then I'm just going to lay this piece on here because this piece has a little slit in it, and I already know that I'm not going to be able to repair that slit, so or stuff it with things. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on there, on that little slit, and then I have another little slit here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing for that slit as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a piece off of here as well, and just kind of run it down. Run it down through this side. This side does not want to go. So I'm just going to cut it this way. And there we go. And then I'm just going to run it down like that. Because this one's not as long. So I don't need as much. And then I'm just going to look at it that way. And then I'm just going to cut that off. And I'm going to go this way with it because I want that to fit. So I'm going to cut that off. And then I'm just going to add a little more gesso here. And like I said, I'm not doing it super thick, but it's, I'm not doing it thin. All right, so now we're going to take that piece, put it right there. And like I said, I'm doing these because there's some big openings right in those spots. So I wanted to just go ahead and not have to bother with those openings. And this one doesn't really have a big opening, but I'm just gonna, and so that one doesn't have a big opening. Now I'm going to take this piece, this is the big piece, so that it'll go over this other giant piece. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and it's okay if I put canvas on the back of this. I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna go ahead, do this. Canvas this, gesso this whole entire piece, because this is the piece that's going to go down on top. Got some hair there. I know it won't make a difference, but I prefer not to have it on my canvas. So we're going to go ahead, and you can see I'm okay with it squeezing out, so I am using it very liberally. So use it liberally. Don't be shy. So there we go. So I'm using it very liberally on here. That's my piece of hair. And then I'm just going to go back and put some more. Put some more on here and on these pieces that I placed down already. I'm going to go ahead and put some more on those all the way over here, over there. And I know it looks like I'm being very sloppy, and I am. And I'm doing that intentionally because I want it to stay. And now I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to put it right in that spot. I'm just going to put it right there. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure that it is pressed down all the way, and bring that down a little bit. And there we go. That is a mended canvas, and I'm going to rub it because I want it to stay down. And I definitely want to come over here. I want to make sure there's no curves in it, that it's not curving under anywhere. I want to try to get any bumps and lumps out that I can. And there we go. A nice mended canvas. Now, what I'm going to do after that, I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. And before I let it sit, I'm going to go ahead and gesso this whole entire back. So in case I missed something, this whole back is going to be gessoed. So I'm just going to go in, and you see I'm getting the edges because I definitely want to get the edges. So yeah, you want to get those edges. So I'm going to go ahead and gesso this whole entire back. And I'm more than likely going to do that 3 or 4 times to gesso this whole entire back. So I'll be doing that about 3 times. Let it dry a little bit, gesso it, and then gesso it again. So as you can see, here we go. That's all gessoed down. And we will have a look at this tomorrow and see how well this patch is doing, right? We're going to see how well this patch is doing. I think I went further down on this. Yeah, I did. Okay. There we go. There we go. Make sure that's nice and done. There. I know. Look at my fingers. So there we go. We did that patch. And so we're going to let this dry a little bit. And then I'm going to come back in and put more gesso on it. And definitely trying to get in the underneath. Like I said, any curves that I might see, I want to take those curves out because I don't want any curves in any of the corners or edges, any of the things like that. No curves. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're looking at it, making sure there's no curve ups anywhere in what you're doing. So, all right, that is how you repair a canvas. And then we're going to see how we have to repaint it because you know there's going to be some openings, there's going to be some different things. And so we're going to have to repaint those areas. And I tell you, that's going to be the toughest part because, like I said, I painted that a while ago. So matching those colors up, we're going to be, okay? It's going to be something to try to match those particular colors up. All right, so we're going to let this sit. We're going to let that sit, and then we will come back to that. I do have a small one that I have to do, so I'm going to work on that one as well because I have a small one. It just has a tiny tear in it, but I definitely want to, I'm going to go over and look at it because I figure while I'm doing this, I might as well knock them both out. It's a tiny tear, but a tear it is. So let me go over here and look at it and see if it's something that, this one's going to be tough. That one's going to be tough, but this one over here, it just has a tiny little hole in it. And so I'm just going to lay it down because it just has a tiny little hole in it right here. I don't know if you could see that. Oh, is it over enough? Here, let's see. It just has a tiny hole in it right there. See it? Yeah. Tiny hole. So I'm going to take a tiny strip. It doesn't even have to be that big. This is a tiny one because the hole's fairly tiny. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this, gesso it. Oh, actually, let's get our tape out. I'm going to scoot over here. We're going to get our tape out because, like I said, I don't want the bleeding through. So I'm going to take the tape, put it on that space right there. And then I'm going to press. And I'm going to put all the threading where I want it. There we go. Because if I can get the threading back, that's the plus. So put all that threading back inside. I don't know if you could see that. I'll bring it over. Can you see that? I'm going to move this down a little bit there. And I'll move this right here. So, oh, you still can't see it. Well, okay, I'll put it right here. So as you can see it, I pressed it down so that I get all the threading back in to it. And then I'm just going to go ahead, put a little gesso there, thicken that gesso up, let that go. And that one's doing pretty good. And then I'm just going to take a little piece of this because I don't need that whole piece because it's just a small one. It's Mending Canvas Day today in Louise Color Studios. And then we're just going to take a little bit of gesso and just put it on here. Put it on there like that. There we go. Mending Canvas Day. And then I'm just going to take it and put it right there. And that's it. That's it right there. It's a little, tiny little tear. And then I'm going to put this right here. Take that off. And then gesso that whole thing. There we go. Tiny tear. There. I'm going to move both ways on it. And there we go. All right. Tiny little gesso tears. All right, I'm going to put this over here. And like I said, I am going to be working on, so that was repair. We did some repair today. We paired two ripped canvases. One of them wasn't that ripped, But we did those, and so I'm going to continue to put down more gesso on these because I'm going to do about 2 or 3 coats of gesso on these. And then once I'm done with that, we'll let them dry overnight and then we'll have a look at them tomorrow. So make sure you tune in tomorrow so you can see how these turned out, how the gesso set up in them. And then the hard part is going to be the repainting because like I said, these I did, whew, I don't know how many years ago. So matching those colors, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do something a little different with that larger one. The small one, I think I'll be able to manipulate those colors, but that large one, we might have to do some different things with that bottom because that's going to be interesting trying to match those colors up after all those years. It's going to be pretty interesting. I'm telling you, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to lift it up, have a look at this. Yeah, you can see, you can see some of the, what you call it, did squeeze through, which is okay because like I said, we have to paint over all of it anyway. So be ready. Be ready for that one. We'll be ready for that one tomorrow. We're going to work on it. I might do a little bit of wiping off. So, all right. So if you guys liked that, leave some comments. Let me know. If you'd like to see some other kind of repairs, canvas, whatever, let me know. And I'll do some of those as well. But this is a great way to repair canvas. And like I said, you can use other materials as well. You don't just have to use gesso. You can use a gel medium, and you can also use a glue, a different kind of glue for this as well. You don't have to just use the gel medium. So use the gesso. I just use the gesso because it's canvas, so I like using the gesso. But we'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow how well I mended it. And then we'll also put some paint on it. We're going to work on the paint part of it. So, all right, guys, it was great seeing you guys again today. And hopefully we will come and meet here again on tomorrow. I'm hoping to see you guys tomorrow as well. Come and hang out with me and we'll have some more fun in the studio with Louise.